My book is about Ramiro de Maeztu, who was a Spanish journalist and intellectual from the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century. He was the first foreign correspondent for the Spanish press to be based in London. Maeztu is interesting more broadly because he is an example of some of the problems and some of the tensions in the concept and the experience of modernity. Modernity is problematic because modernity is power. Modernity can give economic power, military power, commercial power, and political power. So what we see is that modernity always appears, at least, as a game of winners and losers. Maeztu began to debate with a lot of British intellectuals who rejected it very strongly. People who thought that secularization was not good, that the Industrial Revolution was exploitative, that modern industrial societies were soulless and denigrating. So what Maeztu shows us is that modernity is intensely problematic, particularly because modernity is not really temporal, it is actually spatial. What I mean by that is that we tend to think of modernity as something that happens on a temporal axis. We have pre-modern and then we have modern, right? One happens after the other. Modernity is actually spatial. So at the same time, you can have a country that is modern and a country that is not modern, and they are coexisting at the same time. So modernity for us is not just something that happens in the future or that has happened in the past, but it's something that is happening elsewhere. It's also something that is happening to us, depending on which country we are in. While we usually think of Maeztu as somebody who is interesting or significant only in the Spanish context, so what we're seeing is actually a European and even a global citizen who is trying to make sense of the world as he understood it and as was happening all across Europe and across the developed world in the early 20th century, a world that is not that different from the world that we see today at the beginning of the 21st.